and we are going to attempt
to make a red velvet,
a gluten-free red velvet cake. This is completely live and unrehearsed. I just have, as you can see, ha ha ha. She probably will lose interest pretty quickly, but what I have all my supplies here.
While you're talking, I'm gonna play screens.
Oh, are you? Is that what you're gonna do?
Tell me when we're gonna start.
We're gonna start in right away. So I'm just gonna go through the whole thing. This is gonna be really long. Raleigh, hey, you're talking over me. Yeah, there's a lot of ingredients. So Raleigh, she's doing Zoom classes, and yesterday one of her classmates shared a red velvet cupcake. And Raleigh is gluten-free because she has...
Everybody made them.
And everybody was making them virtually. So she's watching everybody make these gluten-free, or sorry, these red velvet cupcakes with gluten. And she, of course, has to have gluten-free everything because she has celiac disease.
Know that they're cooking when I come back.
Well, your teacher did tell us. She sent an email earlier in the week.
She
but
did. Why didn't you tell me?
Okay, well, now we're doing it. And it's, Valentine's Day around the corner, so this just seemed like a really perfect cake to attempt for Valentine's Day. And I want to just share with you guys, so many of you have really been enjoying my gluten-free grocery hauls, so I wanted to share with you my process of, Raleigh, I'm talking.
Sorry.
Okay. I want to, she's 5, and my co-star, so we're doing our best.
Know that I'm 5.
No, they don't. A lot of people find these videos through the internet and they've never met us. They don't know anything about us. That's how this works. We're just kind of putting it out there, and whoever happens to be online and searching for gluten-free baking videos will find it. That's just how it works. So thank you to everyone that comes by live, and thank you to everyone who watches the playback.
Two doctors to take that.
Let me think that. Gibberish. So hi Zach, how's it going? Today we're going to attempt a gluten-free red velvet cake for Raleigh for Valentine's Day. So Zach is one of our regulars, and he knows that Raleigh has celiac disease, and so I make everything gluten-free. And I think a lot of people would really love to hear how I convert a baking recipe that is gluten into gluten-free, just some of my techniques, some of my tips, and also how you can really make any recipe that has gluten into gluten-free when it comes to baking cakes and cookies. Now, bread is really tricky. So bread and pizza dough I have not done because it's just so tricky, because you need the flour and the chemistry of the yeast and everything for the rising of the bread. It's a lot of chemistry, so I can't explain it all. But anyways, when it comes to bread, like baking zucchini breads, banana breads, today pancakes, all those things, if you're willing to do it from scratch, you can actually make it gluten-free. So there's a lot of things you can do. So we're gonna get started. This is gonna be really long. Feel free to comment. We'll chat with you guys. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, Raleigh's already bored and we've only been going a couple minutes. So I always start with turning on the oven and oiling, greasing, whatever.
I want to do that first.
Okay, you can help me paint with the paintbrush. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit of this in, and then you can just paint the whole thing, okay, Raleigh?
Okay.
And then, hi. That is cool. I'm somewhat enjoying this cold weather here in Texas. Oh, it's cold today, it's in the 30s. Yeah, here in Palm Springs, even yesterday we had a pool day, and then today it was stormy. So we're also enjoying this cold weather. We're in the desert, so any of these cold, stormy days, I actually really enjoy the change, and it just seems like a day to stay inside and bake. And also, we just had some hot cocoa. So if you hear her high alarm, that is because we just enjoyed some hot cocoa. I actually still have some on the side here. It's going to get more cold. It could, yeah, this week, so for us, cold is like, it's in the low 70s instead of the low 80s, so I can't really complain. And right now the sun has come out, so it's beautiful. But I'm sure where you are in Texas, it's much cold. I mean, you said it's in the 30s, so it's legit cold where you are. Where we are, it's like, ooh, I have to put a sweatshirt on today, I can't go swimming in the pool. What was I gonna say? Oh, I mentioned her high. So she also has type 1 diabetes. So there's 2 autoimmune diseases that we're dealing with. And if you guys have any questions or if you want to chat about that, feel free at any point. And for anybody watching the playback, I'll put timestamps and I'll also try to link some of our other videos that might be helpful.
This is hard.
Is it hard? It's a big surface. So you guys, I don't always grease the bottom of the pan. Wait, let me talk, sweetie pie. You were talking while you're doing it. You're like, woo, woo. I just brushed up. Oh, you were just dancing. Do you want to help me by doing this? You go up, you dip it in, and you go up all the way around. Do you want to help me with that? No, you're already tired of it. Well, thanks for all the help that you did do. Are you tired? Why don't you go lay down? Okay, when I get to the real baking, I will let you know. So what I was going to say is usually what I do is I will put the pan on top of parchment paper, and then I will cut around the bottom, like I will draw a line around the bottom of the pan and then cut a piece of parchment paper to fit in the bottom. But we decided to go do an easy cake today. So this will be just faster and easier. I'm just gonna leave the cake in the pan, and then with the cream cheese frosting, I'll just put it on top. And then we can just cut and eat directly out of this rectangular pan. So if you're doing like a potluck or you're just making a cake, an informal cake for your kids at home, you know, you can really avoid a lot of the challenge of making a cake by just leaving it in a big rectangular pan. It tastes delicious. Nobody will mind when they taste the cake that it wasn't, you know, presented on a cake plate all beautiful and frilly, perfectly finished. Especially if you're doing, you know, you're a busy mom, you're doing a potluck or something like that. It's gonna be hard to transport a traditional cake. You may not have cake boxes. You're throwing it into the car. So something like this, especially if you have one that you can just pop a lid on top, it just makes it so much easier to transport and share with people. Okay, so I'm done with oiling the pan. I just used, like, what is this? Just some canola oil. You could use butter. I just prefer oil because I like to use the paintbrush. I just find it to be faster and easier. So this is all oiled and ready to go, so I'll put that aside for later. I'm going to turn on the oven. So I'm just going to preheat the oven to 350. That's very typical for baking. I know a comment came in. You're just going to sit back and watch. All right, cool. Thanks, Zach. Thanks for hanging out with us. And if you have other things to do, I understand too, but I hope you enjoy baking with us today. So I'm just going to check the sound before I continue to ramble on about what I'm doing next. Sounds good. I'm gonna take a sip of this is so yummy, you guys. I made hot cocoa. I actually mixed it with my coffee and put in these like big marshmallows. It's so yummy. So hi, welcome back. How are you doing? I'm just making a red velvet, gluten-free red velvet cake from scratch. It's gonna be a long, slow video, but I'm definitely gonna read comments and chat and stuff like that. My daughter, she has celiac disease. I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy it's the weekend. We really love weekends because our kids are in Zoom classes, so we feel a difference between, say, a Friday and a Saturday, being able to sleep in, being able to just chill. We don't, you know, need to like make sure they're staying on all their Zoom classes and their work. So we're happy it's the weekend. I'm glad you're doing well too. Thanks for coming by. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna have a little more of my hot cocoa here. We're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna mix the dry ingredients and then I'm gonna set them aside. I like to just have it ready to go so when I'm done with the wet, I can just mix it in. And then I have the recipe pulled up here on Raleigh's phone. I usually do it on my phone. So this is just a recipe I found online. What I do is I'll search like red velvet cake recipe. So if you're gluten-free, just go ahead and search whatever recipe and don't worry that it's a gluten recipe. If you're making it from scratch, you can improvise and adapt any recipe, almost any recipe, to be gluten-free. So I just searched it. I usually look at ratings. I'll maybe look at like 2 or 3 recipes and see what they do the same and what they do different, and then make my own decision on whether I like what they're doing and whether I think it's gonna produce good results. I don't know, like this recipe I have never tried before, and red velvet cake is kind of tricky. It's not like, it'd be so much easier to just do like a gluten-free cake box mix, and it turns out Walmart has a gluten-free cake box mix that would be super quick. We'd already have it in the oven and be ready to go. But Raleigh specifically wanted red velvet for Valentine's Day, and it's hard when you're 5 and you have celiac disease and watching your friends eat food that you can't eat. So whenever I can, I try to, you know, make a gluten-free substitute so she can enjoy it and not feel like, you know, she's limited or, you know, she can't participate. So, and she also loves sweets, so it's kind of torture for her. So here we have, sorry, I have something else pulled up. So I just went ahead, I found one that's like Sally's Baking Addiction. I don't love the way they do these blog posts. You have to like scroll through the whole thing, but I just scroll, and I get to the actual ingredients. So it says 3 cups cake flour. Now, I have not found a gluten-free cake flour. If you guys have found gluten-free cake flour, please let me know, because that would be great. But I have personally not found it. I'm guessing you might be able to order it online, but it might be kind of pricey and you might have to buy it in bulk. I don't know. But I was just at Walmart yesterday looking for the ingredients. So what I do for that, I substitute gluten-free flour, and then I'll put cornstarch. And let me tell you, it's 1 cup flour to 2 tablespoons cornstarch. So you can make your own cake flour. And let's see, this is the flour I'm using today. I don't always use this flour. I'd say the 2 flours, the 1-to-1 flours that I love the most are probably this. It's Bob. Hi, hey Anaconda, welcome. It's been a long time. I'm doing some gluten-free baking today. I'm doing a red velvet cake for Raleigh. She's 5. When you knew me, I didn't even have kids. It's so wild. You met Declan though when we were in Prague, so good to see you. I hope you're well. So this 1-to-1 baking flour, this is Bob's Red Mill. I use this or I use King Arthur. They're both great. Look for the one that says 1-to-1. You know, you can use like almond flour or coconut flour or chickpea flour, but what I find is if I only use some of those flours, the cake will not have the right consistency. It'll just fall apart. So what I do is if I want to use almond flour, if I want to use chickpea flour, I'll use like a quarter cup and then like 3/4 cup. So I'll just cut the flour with those other healthier flours, but I won't, like this recipe calls for 3 cups of cake flour. I'm gonna use this and the cornstarch to make the cake flour, but if I wanted to incorporate, say, coconut flour and get like a little bit of a coconut flavor, I'd probably do like a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup coconut flour and then use this flour for the rest. I don't know if that makes sense, but you guys can always comment with any questions. You can find me on Instagram if you have any questions, like if you're trying to do some of these recipes for the first time. I'm at supercallylistic. I look at all my messages and I'll try to reply to them, so just reach out to me. But today we're just gonna make our cake flour. It's 3 cups, it's a lot of flour. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 3 cups of this 1-to-1 mix. Oh, she says, awesome. Hope you're well too, and Jesse and the kids. Okay, I'll say hi to them for you. That's so rad. I'm glad you came by. Thanks, Anna. It's so good to see you. You know, some people are super precise with the flour. I know they, you know, level it off. What I do, because that's just an extra step and it just takes a lot of time, so I'll like let it kind of form a little mountain like just above the rim, and then I have faith that if I were to like level it off, that would be closer to a cup. I don't know if that makes sense. Also, if you put a little less flour than you need when you're mixing the batter, you can kind of see if it's too runny, and you can always add flour, but you can't take flour out. And I recently made some banana bread. It was like a chocolate chip banana bread and it was so good. But you guys, I put too much flour and it just, if you put too much flour, I think especially in gluten-free baked goods, it just kind of gets that like, it's just too dry, you know, it just doesn't have, so what I did is I just put a ton of butter on it and melted that in and that fixed it. But you can always add more flour later if you need it. Okay. So like I said, to make cake flour, you need 1 cup flour to 2 tablespoons of this cornstarch. And I found this trick when I was attempting souffle pancakes during like the height of quarantine. They were okay. They weren't as fluffy as the Korean ones that I saw online. Now this, I want to be a little more precise. I'm going to use my finger. Raleigh and I are the only ones eating it, but I would probably, you know, I'll use a knife. I'll be proper. So I'm just going to level this off. So I'm going to have to do 6 of these. That's my second one. This is actually a lot of cornstarch. So this is a new, I just bought this, so I should have enough. So just know that if you're doing a big cake like this, that's 4. You guys can help me count. If you're doing a big cake like this, make sure you have enough cornstarch if you're making your own cake flour. Okay, so that's 6 tablespoons of the cornstarch to 3 cups of the flour. So I'll just put that over there. Keep that in case I need it. Okay, and then we'll just mix that gently, nice and gentle. So I'm gonna mix this before I put my other dry ingredients, just to, I don't know, just to feel like I made my cake flour, and then I'll put all my other ingredients in. Like I said, during the height of quarantine, I tried to make souffle pancakes, I'll link the video in the playback. And I think, like so many people, I was really mesmerized by Korean cooking, how fluffy and precise they are. They're so precise with all their movements and so graceful. And one of the things I learned is they really have like an order of operations, and I'll get into that when I get to the wet ingredients. And I found that it really helps, like the order you do things when you're baking. Like when I was growing up, we kind of just threw everything into the bowl and just mixed it up and poured it in the pan, and it worked, it tasted good. But if you really care about like having that right, like perfect texture, I think the order of operations, like the order that you do things, does really matter. So this is pretty mixed. I don't want to like overdo it, but that's all incorporated, the cornstarch. And again, if you can find gluten-free cake flour, please let me know, because my understanding is it will give your baked goods a slightly different texture. And for something like red velvet cake, it is important. And although I've done this a couple times now, I don't know that making your cake flour from scratch the way I just did really produces the same results as having cake flour. And also, this might be an instance where it's hard to achieve the same consistency cooking, baking gluten-free. So we'll see how it turns out. I really don't know. I haven't done this recipe. So we're just gonna go through the rest of the dry ingredients. I have them here on Raleigh's phone. I'll come closer to you guys in case there's comments, etc. So just to review, this was a recipe that was not gluten-free, and the 2 big substitutions that I had to make were the gluten-free flour. I used the 1-to-1 flour. Those work really good. And then I don't advise you doing like all almond flour. Oh, not sure about Koreans, but the Japanese have so many different kinds of eggs. Yes, Japanese cooking too is phenomenal. So the flour is a substitution, and then you guys, when you do your the cocoa powder for the little bit of a chocolate flavor for this cake, just double check. I'm gonna show you my cocoa. So I think you should be okay. So this is the cocoa that I bought for this recipe, and if you look at the label here, where is it? Okay, so here, This is very pure. It's just cocoa processed with alkali. I don't really know what that is, but I'm guessing it's some sort of preservative. Yes, I think cake flour it makes it, I don't think it's like lighter. It's not like angel food cake, but maybe just like fluffier, or it just gives it a different texture. So, so those souffle pancakes, the Korean souffle pancakes, called for cake flour, and maybe making my gluten-free cake flour was part of why I achieved like fluffiness, but not like, it wasn't anything like the video I watched, which was like amazing. Like you were just mesmerized by this video. Oh, hi Donovan. We're making gluten-free red velvet cake for Valentine's Day. I hope you're excited about this Valentine's Day weekend. And Donovan, don't tell the kids. I am gonna do your suggestion and I'm gonna surprise them, but I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning so I can share it with you guys. So I got the kids and Jesse like cute little, not much, but just like little Valentine's Day gifts. So when they wake up tomorrow, they're gonna be so surprised. Like Palm Springs, yeah, we're in Palm Springs. You like Palm Springs? Anyways, let us know when you're visiting for sure too. So yeah, so I'm gonna surprise, because you guys, like for like Christmas and Easter, the kids know like something's gonna happen, but I don't think they have like any expectation for Valentine's Day. So I feel like we'll see what happens, but I think they're gonna be really surprised. So thank you for that suggestion, Donovan, and I'm just gonna make, I think, one of those short videos to share it with you guys. I think that could be fun. Anyway, so when you're doing cocoa powder, usually it is gluten-free because it's just cocoa powder when you're cooking, but I always check chocolate products because this is an offender. Chocolate products often have cross-contamination. They often have gluten, so we have to be really careful with chocolate. Okay, so while I'm talking about the chocolate, let's get these other dry ingredients in. I'm actually gonna turn off the oven. Oh, if I can. Our oven's broken, so I don't know if I can turn it off. Sorry guys, just a sec. Turn off. Okay, there we go. So we just moved in, and we moved in 4 months ago, but we have a really old oven and we're going to replace it, and it's kind of broken, but you just have to press the buttons often and kind of like push it around, and then it'll kick back in. So we'll get it working, but I'm just like so chatty and trying to share all these details about this gluten-free recipe that it's at 350 and I'll just kick it back on when it's time. Okay, so we also need just 1 teaspoon of baking soda for this recipe. Every recipe is a little different depending on the baker, whether it's baking soda, baking powder, or a combination of the two, but this one is baking soda. I usually just do whatever the baker recommends because I'm not super familiar with the chemistry, so I just trust that they know what would work best for their recipe on that one. So some ingredients I'm really confident changing and doing new things, but with that, I always do whatever is recommended. And then I know we need salt. Oh, and I'm gonna sneak some of this stuff. I'll share that with you in a minute. Oh, wait. Yes, okay. So just a note really quick. So both of these recipes, so I'm gonna be making the cake and also the frosting, and they both call for a lot of butter. So this is a recipe that's very buttery. So what you wanna do is I already have my butter out, and I'm trying to get it to room temperature, and I'm hoping that this video is so long or whatever, it'll get to room temperature. If I have to put it in the microwave for like a couple seconds to soften it, I will. But you don't wanna melt your butter because that will affect the consistency of your cake. So some recipes, it doesn't really matter, but other recipes, it really does. So I have that out, and this recipe called for 2 sticks of unsalted butter, essentially, and I only had 1 stick of unsalted butter. So what I'm gonna do is the cake, I'm gonna do the unsalted butter and then add a pinch of salt. And then for the frosting, I'm gonna use the salted butter and then I won't add the pinch of salt. So I don't know if you cook with unsalted butter or salted butter, but growing up, we just always cooked with salted butter. In fact, to the point where I could never get my apple crisp as an adult to taste like my mom's apple crisp. And I finally figured it out, you guys. She would always bake with salted butter. She didn't buy unsalted butter, and it made the apple crisp so, you cook with unsalted. So it made the apple crisp so salty and sweet. And so now I do my apple crisp with salted butter every time because it just gets that like perfect salty flavor in the butter. So sometimes experiment, if you love salt, you might want to experiment baking with salted butter. It's just an idea because I know I also believe that, you know, so many recipes, they say unsalted butter and then you add the pinch of salt, but just, I don't know, just a thing. So my frosting, again, I don't have 2 sticks of unsalted butter, so I'm gonna use salted butter and I just won't add the salt. So the butter will have plenty of salt to give it like that nice salty flavor. But the cake I'm using unsalted, so I'm just gonna do a pinch of salt. And I love this. This, I don't know what this came with, but it's like the perfect pinch of salt. So I just keep it with my salt because it's always the same. There's never a recipe that's like a teaspoon of salt. That never happens. It's always a pinch of salt. It's always the same. Some things in baking you can just depend on always being the same. Yeah, try it. If you're into salt anaconda, you should try it. I don't know whether you want me to call you Anna or Anaconda, but you know what I mean. Okay, so, looks like I think I got, okay, so I just need to do my cocoa, and I think it's only 2 tablespoons, so it's not that much. Just gives it a little bit of a chocolate flavor. It'll be so yummy. Okay, so I'm just gonna wipe this out so I don't get cornstarch in my chocolate. So before I start, I like to always have paper towels and the trash can handy. In fact, sometimes when I'm cooking, I'll just pull the trash can out and I'll just leave it right next to me so like I can just be constantly, I don't need to take like an extra step to get to the trash. Anna, okay, and it's Anna or Anna? I guess you can't really tell me over the chat to pronounce it right, but I think it's Anna because I like Anaconda, right? So fun to have you here. You should let us know if what you're working on. If you're doing any YouTube videos these days, you should feel free to comment and tell us what you're up to. So Anna and I, we are YouTube friends. Our YouTube friendship dates back to 2009. It's either 2008 or 2009, like when I first started with a channel called Life with Babs. It was me and a Barbie doll. It was really fun. I'll always have a soft spot for that channel. And it's what got me into YouTube, so. All right, so I'm just gonna do, here, I kept my knife handy, so be super precise for you guys. Not that I am when I cook for myself. Okay. Ooh, this looks so good. You guys, it smells so good. Chocolate's amazing. Isn't it just one of God's gifts, you guys? Chocolate. Okay, chocolate and coffee. All right, so this is one of my mom tricks. So it's really more for me and to relieve my guilt because so my kids are 8 and 5, Declan and Raleigh, and they're really picky eaters. I mean, like to the point where they haven't had a vegetable probably this year. It's that bad. So I do things like this. I have this thing my mom gave me. It's pretty fancy, and I don't have the container because when we moved, I just like took some of it because it was like a big container, and I gave the rest to my neighbor because I was just trying to cut down on this stuff. It's so hard moving, but it's called leaf powder, and it's gluten-free. And if you smell it, excuse me, I just burped. If you smell it, it really has a potent vegetable smell, and it has a very green color. So I do it like a very minimal amount. I'll probably do just like a couple teaspoons. And honestly, I don't know that it really does that much like nutrition wise, but between giving them vitamins every day and sneaking stuff like this in, I just feel better knowing they got something healthy in their system, even if it's through something like a red velvet cake. Sometimes I also put in this protein leaf powder that it's like a protein powder that has a lot of nutrients in it, but it kind of gives it kind of like a different texture, and I didn't want to mess with the texture of this one. So I just decided I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of this in, especially because this cake is dark. So, oh, I'm realizing I didn't get out my, you need red food coloring for this, so let me go get that too. So I'm just gonna put, what do I wanna put? You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna put a couple teaspoons. I mean, it's really dense, so it will do something. You know what, maybe I'll just do 1.5. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm just like, you know, just like an eyeball, and hopefully they don't notice. I'll do that, like I'll sprinkle it on their Nutella, and they don't even know. Okay, so you're still doing videos on Georgian to go. Launched 8 months ago with my German best friend. That's so great. That's awesome. I'll check it out. It's about the Georgian language and culture. I moved to Germany, Hamburg, which isn't as pretty as Prague, but has other advantages. Well, congratulations on your move. I would love to visit Germany. Who knows? It could happen. Let's just put it out there and we'll see you again. That would be really cool. And I'll check out, I know YouTube kind of thinks that you're spamming a channel when you put links in the comments, but after the fact, feel free to put a link to your channel in the comments, because that's the easiest way for me to find it. When you guys comment on here, I can't go back and click on your channel. Like, I think you used to be able to do that. It's harder and harder for us to connect directly after a video is over. Oh, your boyfriend, ooh la la, tell us more. That's great, congratulations. Well, you might have real Valentine's Day plans then, because like I'm an old married lady, so I don't know that we're gonna do a whole lot, you know, but like when you're dating, I feel like Valentine's Day is a pretty important time, you know, like feelings are gonna get hurt if you don't do something special, you know, like you still have to prove your love, you know, so have fun, that's great. I don't know if you guys even celebrate Valentine's Day in Germany, but I feel like it's a worldwide event, right? Okay, so I'm getting a little distracted by all the romance. Congratulations. Let me just double check. I always double check, because with baking, like you skip one little thing, you've wasted a lot of money and time. Okay, so we have baking soda, the cocoa powder, the salt, and the cake flour. Okay, good, and I added the leaf powder. Okay, so that was so cheesy. I'm a dork, you guys. I watch the playback of all my videos, so I know how dorky I am, but you know, it's just, you can't fight who you are. It's just who I am, and my family loves me that way, and hopefully you guys do too. I can't, as graceful as I try to be, it just never, it's like, stop trying, Alyssa, you're just you're a goofball, like you can't get around it. Okay, so, so now I wanna work on the wet ingredients, and I'm also gonna check my butter. So I'm just if you guys can see, I don't know if you guys can see, I know this wide angle is not great for cooking videos, but if you just see, I'm just mixing it until it's kind of just a uniform color, nice and gentle, because, you know, if you have baked in the past, the dry ingredients, they're just so light and fluffy, you could very easily knock them out of the bowl. So you don't want to do that either, because that's going to mess up your proportions. And yeah, I'm just kind of trying to incorporate it so it's uniform. Mostly my biggest concern is the baking soda uniform, because my baking soda is kind of old and clumpy, and if you hit a clump of baking soda in your baked goods, it's a little salty and unpleasant. So I always feel bad if someone gets the salty bits, you know, the baking soda bits. So it looks pretty good. Oh, and it's so chocolatey. And look at that, you guys. That leaf powder can really turn it green, but because of the chocolate, you can't even see it or smell it. Mom win. 10 points for mom. Okay. See, I'm just a goofball. I can't help it, you guys. If you all go back and look at Life with Babs, you'll understand that that's just a scripted show, but like it really is like maybe like kind of my spirit animal. Yeah, never mind, I'm gonna get weird. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside. I don't want anything to happen to my dry goods because that would be a real pain. And then what I'm gonna do is I take a bigger bowl. This is the biggest one I have. This is my popcorn bowl. I love popcorn. And I'm gonna start in with the wet ingredients, so that way when I mix the dry ingredients, I have enough room. And I also realized I put out everything so I would be prepared, but I did not put out my mixer, which is super cute, you guys. When you see my mixer, it's so cute. I'm so excited. I'm flexing on my mixer. It's so cute. I got it at Christmas time. And I forgot the food coloring, which I need the food coloring for this. So I think it's right down here. Let me check. You know what? It's actually, yeah, it's right here. Oh, good. I thought it was maybe in the pantry. And yes, okay. So red apparently is a very popular food coloring color, because check this out. I have like almost no gel, and then I have this. So that should be plenty, but the recipe did suggest that you do the gel. I just don't know. This is pretty old and there's not that much left. You can see it's like the end of the tube of toothpaste style here, okay? So fortunately I have this as a backup, we'll be fine. And then I'll just grab my mixer. Okay, that was gross, I just touched my socks. My socks were falling off. Okay, I'll wash my hands. Okay, so story time. I had a mixer, it was so ugly, but it worked so well. And my mom had bought it for me when I think I moved into Los Angeles. Like, it was after college and I was moving into my first apartment, and my mom bought me my first mixer. And it was just like probably like a $10 mixer, but it was the best mixer. And I think it was during one of these videos, I dropped it and it just like cracked and it was broken. It was beyond repair. It fell on we used to have tile floors. Now we're fixing terrazzo. That's why everything is a mess. Anyways, so I got this for myself. Look how cute. It's so retro. I don't know if you guys are watching any of my other videos, but we're going full mid-century. Our home was built in 1961, so we're like we're in the process of restoring it and trying to get it back to its former 1960s glory. So I was so excited when I found this. Now, I have to say that it's a little more flimsy. Like, these are a little more flimsy than the ones that I originally had. They just don't make them like they used to. But it was also pretty inexpensive, so, you know, no big deal. Isn't that cool? So it's definitely form over function with this one. It looks like I already scratched it, but it's been working, you know, so as long as I don't drive it too hard, it seems like it's working. And it kind of has like a little, you know, release here, so you have a little flexibility, and then it goes back up. It's pretty nice. So just flexing on my mixer. I know you guys love that stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna really quick though wash my hands, because I'm realizing I haven't been very neat. I've been touching my hair and whatnot. So there you go. All right. So wash up, make sure my hands are nice and clean. Honestly, I'm only making this cake for me and Raleigh because Jesse and Declan will not eat it because they don't like cream cheese frosting. I don't even understand how you can't like cream cheese frosting. That doesn't make sense to me, but it'll just be me and Raleigh, so I don't really need to care that much about germs, but I just, for you guys, so you're not like grossed out, like, oh, she touched her head and then she made the batter. I don't know. I'm just trying to be as profesh as possible here. As profesh as it gets in Super Cali Land. All right, now I just need to find an outlet. I actually have an extension cord. Just a sec, you guys. Okay, just behind you here. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess what, Jesse? Remember my friend Anna from we met up with her in Prague? She's in the live video right now. She's in Germany. Okay. He says, oh, cool. He's on the phone, so I couldn't really talk to him, but I'll say hi. And then let's see. I don't know if this is gonna reach. I have an extension cord under the camera here. Let's see if I'll reach. I don't know. Watch. Blow fuse. Does it reach? Does it reach? I think it's gonna happen. Okay, I'm excited. All right. So I always, when I do wet ingredients, you guys, I thought you did this symbol. I was like, yeah, hang loose, woo. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm touching my head again. Oh, you guys, your boyfriend and you live in different cities, but you see each other a lot. Oh no, his mom's birthday is the day after Valentine's Day and you'll be working. Okay, well you better do a good belated Valentine's Day. Honestly, Jesse and I, now that we're an old married couple, we do like to go out to fancy restaurants for Valentine's Day. So what we usually do is we'll pick a really fancy restaurant, but we'll go like a day before or a day after Valentine's Day because the restaurants, especially when we used to live in Los Angeles, they were so crazy on Valentine's Day and you're gonna pay a lot of money for a prefix menu. So we would rather spend the money on, you know, the experience that we would want from that restaurant when it's not super crowded and only one menu. So that's how we did it. That always worked for us because in Los Angeles, I'm sure this year will be different. This year everyone will be doing like Valentine's Day Zooms, but I don't know, that was our trick, is like just don't do it on Valentine's Day. It's still romantic, it's still really fun, and you get your money's worth, you know, whatever restaurant you're going to. And it's a little more peaceful, you don't have to deal with the traffic. It was crazy, you guys. Like after work on Valentine's Day, like the traffic was insane. And like the floral shops, like the line would be around the block because like all the guys are standing there like, oh, I didn't get flowers. It's like every year. Just plan ahead, but guys don't really, you know. Oh, you saw him in the background? He was like creeping around, like trying to, he doesn't understand how wide this is, so he's always in the shop without meaning to. Okay, what am I doing? I'm gonna do the wet ingredients. So I always start with eggs. This is what I learned from watching all those cooking videos. Oh shoot, I thought it would be 2 eggs. This is huge. This is a huge recipe. I feel like we're gonna have extra batter. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, crap you guys, because look at it, I put out my 2 eggs, because almost every recipe calls for 2 eggs, and they're still cold. And this is really an annoying thing about cooking if you forget, but you need your eggs to be room temperature. So, all right, for anybody watching the playback, I hope you found the timestamps. This video is gonna be like an all-day video. This is gonna be a marathon. I'm gonna see how long I can actually vlog. I'm tempted to go put them out in the sunlight. Is that gross? Is that crazy to go put the eggs out in the sunlight? I don't know. Because they're cold. My eggs are cold, you guys. I can't cook with cold eggs. Okay. Like, ever since I plugged in my phone and now it's top heavy, so it keeps like slowly. Okay. Oh, shoot. I have enough eggs, so that's the good news. Sometimes I'll be cooking, I'm like, I can't mess up the eggs because I only have 2 and the recipe calls for 2. I have lots of eggs. Shoot. I don't know what to do, you guys. I don't know what to do. I'm legit gonna go put them in the sun. I think that's kind of gross, but. Oh, it doesn't get that crazy where you are in Germany? No, I think like Los Angeles, I mean, it's millions of people. So when something happens and everyone's doing it at the same time, like Thanksgiving, you're crazy to go outside and deal with that. You know what I mean? So you try to like offset your schedule if you can, because if you know those traffic patterns are happening. Like if a president comes to visit Los Angeles, they have to notify everyone because you will not be able to get through the city because of the traffic that happens as a result of like their, you know, motorcade or whatever it is. I'm gonna go put these in the sun. I just can't leave them out there because they're cold. These are cold eggs and we need them room temperature. We need them warmer. Okay, I'll be right back. Oh my gosh. Oops. I should have looked to see how many eggs I need. Okay. Such a weird thing to do, but I don't know what else to do. I need to speed it up. I got you guys waiting to see this recipe. I could pre-measure my other ingredients, so For those of you that didn't see, I'm drinking like really yummy hot cocoa with coffee and marshmallows. And I think I'm gonna use a spoon and just like eat the marshmallows because they look so good. Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll just pre-measure my other wet ingredients. Can I do that? I feel like that might mess up the flow of it, but let's see. Let's see what else I got here. What else I need. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I can start working on the cream cheese frosting. Let's see how our butter's doing. Okay. So here's the butter. I took it out when this started. It's still kind of cold too. I'm gonna go put this in the sun. So I've got my butter too. And it's still a little cold. It's almost to room temperature. It's pretty cool today, but we're in the desert, so that sun's gonna do something in a couple minutes. I think it's like probably 70 right now. The sun's out. It was stormy today. Big storm, like really stormy. But now it's calmed down, it's fine. Okay. Oh, I didn't get the vinegar. Okay, I can do these ingredients. Okay, so it's this recipe. I'm just gonna go over while we're waiting. I'm gonna go over what I'm putting in the wet ingredients. I'm doing a half a cup of the unsalted butter, which is outside. It's just half a cup a stick. 2 cups sugar. 1 cup, this says canola or vegetable oil. I'm gonna go rogue and I'm gonna do olive oil. I'll show you the olive oil I use. So I used this just to oil the pan in the beginning. That's the canola oil. I mostly only use canola oil for oiling the pans or popcorn. So I use it for popcorn. But I cook with this. I get it from Trader Joe's and it's just regular olive oil. It is not extra virgin because it has a higher smoking point. So this is great for cooking. And then lately I've been doing like my eggs and all like tortillas and things that need to get really hot. I've been doing it with avocado oil because that's pretty healthy and it has an even higher smoking point than this. So the oil that you choose really has to do with what it is you're cooking and what temperature you're cooking at. So this one I love this olive oil. I cook with it all the time and bake with it. I think olive oil gives the baking a nicer texture and flavor. That's me personally. Now you may taste the olive oil in your cake and be like, that's not for me, but I like the taste of olive oil, so I'm gonna do this. And I wanna mix it in. Let me look at what else we got going on here. So that's the oil, 4 large eggs, which are also sitting outside. 1 tablespoon, that can't be right. This is calling for a tablespoon. Okay, just to show you guys, in case you're new to baking. Where's my teaspoon? Arrgh. Okay, wait, just a sec. Here it is. Just to show you guys, and ladies, the difference. This is a teaspoon, and this is a tablespoon. That's significantly different. I want to say that a tablespoon, I can't remember, but off the top of my head, I want to say it's 2.5 teaspoons or something like that. So it's more than 2 teaspoons, maybe even 3. I can't remember. I have a conversion chart somewhere, but this is taking long enough, so I'm not going to go searching for it. I'm not going to put a tablespoon of vanilla. That to me, I do a lot of baking and that just sounds like a lot. I love vanilla, but that's a lot of vanilla. I also feel like this recipe is producing twice as much cake than I might actually need. So we'll see if we'll end up maybe with extra batter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of vanilla because usually a recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So if I'm doubling it, it's 2 teaspoons. I almost was gonna say, this beat is crazy. I'm not gonna cuss because then, you know, this is YouTube. She's cray cray because that's a lot of vanilla. I'm not gonna do that. Now maybe it's because it's red velvet cake and I don't understand that red velvet cake needs more vanilla. You guys can enlighten me because I've never baked a red velvet cake. This is my first time live. because I'm crazy. Now I'm crazy. I just like the word crazy. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of this, the vanilla. Where am I? Where's my recipe? There it is. Okay, so do a little dance. Okay, so vanilla, I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons. I'm not doing a tablespoon. 1 teaspoon white vinegar, and I'm guessing this is because the next ingredient is the red food gel, and it doesn't say how much, so I'm guessing just like a few drops to kind of get the color, the red color, that blood color that you want for red velvet. I hope I didn't upset any kids. My kids are so scared of blood, so off to sleep. Oh, good night, sweet dreams, Anaconda, thanks for coming by. Yes, come back, and I'll have timestamps so you can like just skip to the end result. Okay, thank you, so good to see you, bye. Okay, and come back and put your the link to your channel in the comments below the video. Okay. And then 1 cup buttermilk. And apparently buttermilk is really important to get the flavor of this just right. And I don't usually use buttermilk, so I'm really excited about this. So I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do just like a mix of a few of these wet ingredients, I think, to save on time while I'm waiting for everything to get to room temperature. Excuse me. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I will do just a few of these things. I'll do this, this. So the olive oil, the buttermilk, and the vanilla. And then I think the vinegar and the food coloring, I'm really gonna wait. I might even wait for these to when I incorporate the whole thing with the dry ingredients to really get the color that I desire. And also not to stain as many bowls. Okay, I'll be right back. I forgot the vinegar though, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna run around really quick. Just a minute, you guys. Play your Jeopardy music. I'll be right back. Here I come. Okay. My slipper fell off. All right, so not doing this yet though. This is with this. Okay, we'll just put this here. They're like, vinegar? It's because we're doing food coloring, guys. Okay. All right, so I know I made, oh here, this is the bowl I cleaned for my just little bit of wet ingredients while I'm waiting for. If you guys are just joining me, it's because, well, whatever. You guys are either like hanging on through the playback, because I don't think that many people are here during the live, or maybe you're using the timestamps. Honestly, will you comment if you use the timestamps? Because I take a lot of time to put in the timestamps to make these videos more watchable for people doing the playback and maybe that like want to get right to a certain section. But I don't know if it's worth it because I don't know if anybody's using them. So if you use timestamps, will you please just put it in the comments? Just really quick, drop me a comment so I know and I'll keep doing it. And if you don't, I feel like maybe there's better ways I could spend my time, you know? Always trying to figure that out. Okay, so we just need a ½ cup of olive oil. That might seem like a lot, but you want your cake to be nice and moist. So when it says a ½ cup of olive oil, or oil in this case, I'm substituting olive oil. Do it. You'll regret it if you don't. Your cake will be dry. You don't want dry cake. And then, let's see, it says for the buttermilk, I keep losing Raleigh's phone. Oh, here. It says, that's pretty typical, although usually it's like butter or oil, and this recipe specifically said to do half and half is really the key. And it must be doubled, because usually it's just a ½ cup of olive oil or a ½ cup of butter, so. And then, let's see, a cup of buttermilk. I don't know if you need it. I don't think you need to shake this. I'm not really familiar with buttermilk, but I'm excited to see what the result is. Oh, it has a very sour, I hope that's normal. Does buttermilk have a sour smell to it? I mean, I'm not gagging. Are you familiar with buttermilk, Jesse? Or are you on the phone?
What's the difference Minecraft can?
says it's good till March. What?
What's the name of the Minecraft camp?
Code Red.
Code Red.
Code Red.
RED.
Okay. Maybe it's just like, you know, non-fat yogurt. It has kind of that sour thing going on. And then I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Homegirl is not doing a tablespoon. Okay. So that's my half a tablespoon. Okay. So I'm just gonna measure out 1. I don't know that you guys can see this because I put this jug of vinegar there. And 2. Coming along, slowly but surely. So I just have to remember what I did. And then I'm gonna go check the eggs and the butter, and hopefully it's a little bit more room temperature. All right, well, the butter, my unsalted butter is much softer. My salted butter is still a bit firm. And the eggs are so cold, you guys. Those are the eggs are the most important part. When you start the wet ingredients, it's the eggs are the most important step. Wow. Well. Just not gonna be a perfect cake. You guys won't know because you're not trying it. So I'm gonna move forward because you will notice if I sit here and talk to you for an hour while I wait for my eggs to come to room temperature. So this is live and I've never done this cake before. So you're just kind of getting a peek at how it goes down. How a mom with a gluten-free kid makes gluten-free baked goods from scratch. Okay, so I cube my butter. So I don't even know if you guys can see this, and it kind of looks really messy and crazy, but, so what I do is so it's nice and soft. I'm slicing lengthwise, and then I'm gonna slice like this so I make a bunch of little cubes. You wanna cube it because unlike oil, it's a lot stiffer. So if you don't cube it first, it's just gonna be harder to mix basically. So I always cube it, and I'm sure there's a more graceful way of doing this, but I'm just going for it. My hands are clean, you guys saw me wash them. Okay. And I'm just gonna set this aside because this is gonna be one of the last parts of the wet ingredients. This will be after the sugar. It's one of the last wet. So I'm just gonna set that hot mess aside. And that's my unsalted. I hope I did unsalted. Yeah, that's unsalted. Got a little on my hands. All right, who's awake? Okay. And I'm just gonna start with some not room temperature eggs because we gotta get this show on the road. I'm also gonna turn my oven back on just to make sure it's at temperature. I'm setting that back to 350 just so I'm sure that it's at the temperature I need for when I'm ready to put it in. Okay, so 4 eggs. So this recipe clearly is a double because again, usually it's a 2 egg. Oh gosh, running out of room here. I do this so you guys hopefully can see a little better during these live videos. Let's do this. We can't lose my eggs. And we're back to refrigerator eggs, and colder. I don't have a fancy egg cracking technique. I apologize. I just do it the old-fashioned way. Oh! Never done that before. So, this is live. I got a little too aggressive there. Okay. 1 cold egg it is. Maybe put out more than 4 eggs because you might be a klutz and slam one on the countertop. I've literally never done that. Right as I'm like, I don't really have a special egg technique. I don't crack eggs at all. I just smash them against things. Okay, but that's why, look, see, trash can nearby, voila. See? You save yourself a step. And time is important when you're cooking. Right now it's not important because I'm, preparing everything. But if I were cooking a dinner and I had to get to the stovetop, you don't have a lot of time. Every timing is really important. So, all right, so I'm just gonna gently mix these. I'm gonna have to come over here because my cable's not right. I don't know if you guys can see this at all. I'm trying to hold it up a little bit. I'm just gonna we got to the egg part with one cold egg. Okay. Oh, I want to keep it, I don't need it to be super. Now I'm not whipping the eggs. I'm just getting them to a nice, creamy, uniform texture. Not whipping. If I were whipping, you guys would be here a little longer. Okay, I'm gonna move this just because I don't have a lot of space right here. Okay. And then, because I did this in advance, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna check because I don't need to be, I'm not gonna redo this today, obviously. You guys are like, wait, we have to start over. So eggs, usually the recipe goes in order. So you could go and read the entire description, but it's time consuming, and they do all this thing where they do like a big blog post that you have to scroll through. So I like to just get to the ingredients, and if it's something I'm not familiar with, I might go and read the description, but usually ingredients go in the order that you add them. So I start with the eggs, and then the vanilla, actually they didn't go in the order. So scratch that, because they put all of the oil first. Oh, and it put 1 cup of vegetable oil. I'm gonna have to put more oil in there. Okay, all right. Good thing I looked at this. So I put a 1/2 cup of olive oil, but this is actually saying 1 cup. This lady's just going all the way with the wetness here. So I'll put a little more oil just to stay true to this. And then the vanilla. And look, she didn't put it in order because then she has the food coloring. Okay, so buttermilk, and then I'm gonna do the food coloring last. Okay, so I had to improvise a lot with this recipe. So I'm hoping that this live video helps you see my process of like, oh wait, stop. My understanding is you do eggs first, then the oil, and then the sugar, and then the butter, and then I'm gonna put the food coloring in the batter when I mix it with the dry ingredients. So I do think the order is really important. So this is only 1/2 cup of oil, so I am going to, I'm gonna put more oil in. I'm gonna stay true to this. I did put less vanilla because that's a flavor thing. But if it says 1 cup of oil, I'm gonna trust that it's a lot of flour and I better get that ratio right. So I am gonna put more oil in. So 1/2 cup to make it 1 whole cup. There it is. Still has oil in it. So I'm gonna go back and do that. I'm glad I double checked because I really can't stand it when there's too much flour and it has that dry. When it's too dry, I don't like that. I like a moist cake. I don't like a wet cake, but I do like a moist cake. So moist. Does that sound? Jesse's like, ugh, moist. If you he doesn't like desserts, so he doesn't get to chime in.
It's just a word.
It's a great word. When you're talking about red velvet cake, moist is an amazing word. Don't listen to him. Okay, so and then mix all of this. I'll come closer, you guys. So again, I just want to like incorporate all these ingredients. I'm gonna go down here because I just could see myself. I'm such a klutz. I could see myself like spilling the whole thing. This is gonna be a loud bowl too. I don't usually do it in this bowl, but I wanted to make sure I had a nice, this is my biggest bowl. I wanted to make sure I had enough space for all of the ingredients. So it's looking really pretty. Oh, look how pretty. What a pretty yellow. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I don't know if the screen is true to color, but it's a really pretty, I think because of the buttermilk, it's a really pretty canary yellow. It's so pretty. So pretty. Okay, I don't want to get it too fluffy. I'm just mixing still. You can see. Oh, that looks nice. I'm excited about that. Okay, let me think now. I'm pretty sure I want to go in with the sugar next. And again, I'm not really reading all of the directions because I feel like that would be a yawn fest for you guys. I hope I don't regret that. Maybe I should go down to the instructions a bit. Done. So yeah, dry ingredients first, set it aside. We did that. Oil, egg. So she says oil first. That's like not at all that's not my jam. Oh, so she's now saying beat the butter and sugar together. I thought about that. I thought like maybe I'll beat the butter and sugar. The butter and the sugar, when you beat butter and sugar, it like makes like a really nice, it has really nice consistency, a nice paste. They have a nice chemistry. It's a lot of chemistry. I love that about baking. So I'm actually gonna do that separate and then incorporate that to my wet ingredients. And then I'll add the vinegar. I'll add the dry ingredients and then, yeah, the food coloring. So the vinegar I'm gonna add to the wet ingredients, but not yet. I feel like, what if it turns my buttermilk? You know what I mean? So just don't let me forget the vinegar for anyone that's here. I don't know that anyone's here anymore. I think it's just me baking with myself. But hopefully some of you that care about learning to bake gluten-free will find this video and, I don't know, make yourself a hot cocoa too and just sit there and zone out. I don't know. We'll see. Or you can just have me jabbering away in the background while you make this cake. I don't know. I've been on YouTube for a long time, but I don't pretend to understand YouTube. So I've done it for a long time and I feel like my whole life is just figuring out like what the heck is going on this platform, you know? Okay, so what do I need? I need butter and sugar. I don't know that that's big enough. I'll take this bowl. I have feeling I have to rinse the bowls out because I haven't used them in so long. I want to make sure there's no like, you know, dust or weirdness. So if I remember, it's 2 cups of sugar and a whole stick of unsalted butter. So, and I'm pretty sure for a cake like this, we're just going to do granulated sugar, nice and white. Great for baking, nothing fancy. A lot of times I incorporate brown sugar. You know, I might want to make it a little healthier, but for this, I want to get it right. So I'm going to do the white sugar. And I think I'm just going to wipe this out. It's all going in the same place, but I could just bust out more cups. But I have to do it the hard way. I do have another set of cups. Okay, you guys. We're getting there. We're getting close. I know it doesn't feel like it. I know it's been a long prep time. Wait, where are we at? Prep time. I guess it says up here. Let's see. For my own. Prep time, 68 minutes. No, obviously I've been talking a lot and hanging out with you guys, so that's not real. I say prep time for something this from scratch, this complex, especially if you're doing it for the first time, it probably will be 40 minutes to an hour just because I find if you rush and it's not something you're familiar with doing, you will regret it. Like instead of taking, sorry, this is gross, I know my socks are falling off. Instead of taking, you know, instead of like trying to rush and be like, prep time, 30 minutes, I'm gonna do this. Look, if you mess up the whole cake, you're gonna regret that. Like take your time, allow a lot of time, allow time for reading through the recipe, like just take your time because it'll be worth it in the end. And you'll have a really long video. Okay. All right, so we're just gonna scoop out 2 cups, totally off memory. So I'm gonna follow my own advice. I remember 2 cups, but I'm dyslexic, so I just always double check. Oh my God, oh no. I was like, you guys, I was looking at the cream cheese recipe and it said 5.5 cups, but that's the confectioner sugar, the powdered sugar, and that's for the cream cheese frosting. That's gonna be amazing. No, it's 2 cups granulated sugar. Mama remembered correctly. But just because I feel like I owe it to you guys to get this right, I'm trying to, you know, mind my P's and Q's and not go too crazy off script with this. Okay, and then my butter is all ready. I don't know if you were here for it, but I cubed it. So I'm gonna cube that. And I don't know how I'm gonna do this because there's gonna be like the baking time. And I don't know, like my phone is gonna, if it's gonna hold up through this whole process. Anyway, through the paper towels. I'm not an ad for saving the trees. Okay. So now we're gonna beat this together. And this is why you want room temperature butter. So it just doesn't take as long to mix the two of these together. But the sugar kind of softens and like moistens. Can't talk today. My tongue's not, I didn't do my vocal warm-ups before this. Okay. So that kind of starts to incorporate and it starts to soften and almost get a more liquid texture. But the reason I'm doing this separately is because I want these incorporated before I mix them with the wet ingredients. And this particular recipe said to do this step first and then add the eggs and then add, but I like to beat my eggs and get them mixed before I add any ingredients to them. That's just me personally. So, you know, you might have a way that you like to do it. So, like if my mom were doing this, she'd just throw everything in one bowl and be like, I'm not doing all those dishes. Like it'll be fine. And it's always fine, you know, so I don't know. I guess part of it is just superstition on my part, but. So there's a few clumps that are just refusing. I think it's just because it wasn't completely the inner parts of the butter probably were still cold. Oh, Domino, thank you. Thank you, Domino. Thank you. Okay, Domino, thank you. Someone just walked by. I think she's having a fit. So this has got a nice, like, almost Play-Doh texture to it. It's so fluffy and soft. You could almost just, like, this could be just, like, a kinesthetic. I could just give this to my kids and be like, stick your hands in this and have some fun, you know? But I'm not, because we're making a cake. Alyssa, don't be ADD. Okay. It really is cool though. It's almost like kinetic sand, the texture. I'm realizing that I've done a lot of mixing brown sugar with butter because I do an apple crumble that I really love. But this, I don't as often make cakes. I haven't made a cake in a long time actually because I usually use, what do I usually do? I'm trying to think. I guess, what did we do for Raleigh's birthday last year? Because she has been gluten-free for at least one birthday. So I think maybe we got gluten-free cupcakes from a place in Santa Monica because we were living in Los Angeles during her last birthday, called Erin McKenna's, and she has these delicious vegan gluten-free cupcakes, and it's a completely gluten-free bakery, so it's safe for Raleigh to eat anything from that bakery. That bakery is magic for my daughter. We don't have anything like that out here in Palm Springs. I think there's only 3 in the country, 3 Erin McKenna's. There's an Erin McKenna, her original bakery is in New York City, and then Santa Monica is, I think, one of the newest locations. And she also has one at Disney Springs in Florida. So that's really cool. And my hope is if that one does really well, then we'll get one at Downtown Disney District, which would be great because we go there. We're not that far from Downtown Disney. We're about an hour and a half from Anaheim. So it's not, I mean, for us out here in the desert, everything's at least an hour away. So we go, I'd say like once or twice a month. Well, I go once or twice a month for videos, but Raleigh went back for the first time last week, which was super special. And we're hoping there's an announcement soon about the parks opening up, which would be really cool. All right, it's pretty mixed. It looks good. I honestly thought it would be a little moister, but there was a lot of oil and butter in this recipe, so I think I should be fine. I'm gonna get my wet ingredients back. I'm gonna mix this into my wet ingredients. Just gonna kind of get it wet so it incorporates a bit before I turn on the blender. Coming along, Raleigh. The batter's coming
By the
along.
way, April called me while I was playing screens without you telling me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that means I can't do it.
You want to come say hi again? I don't know if there's anyone here, but for whoever's watching the playback, go up on your stool.
No.
Oh no. Oh, all right. Okay. She has other things that she wants to do. That's my daughter Raleigh. If you guys are just joining us, she's 5 and she has celiac disease, so I do everything gluten-free for her. Hence the gluten-free red velvet cake. This is looking gorgeous. I am gonna put it on the table. I know you guys can't see as well, but I want to make sure I get all the clumps out of here. I'm gonna just scoop it around with a spoon. Looks like some of the butter is still cold because I can see the clumps. I don't think, I mean, when you bake a cake, it is gonna all melt and bake together, so it's not essential that every last clump is smoothed out. But, so basically, really like an hour or 2 before you bake, maybe not an hour, but like an hour, hour and a half before you bake, put out your butter and your eggs so you don't have to worry about that ruining the texture, you know? Because I had it out, I mean, I've been going for a long time, so it should be room temperature, but it's just, there. I see it. There's a few chunks that are still not really wanting to incorporate, and they're probably cold, so. All right, but we're gonna go ahead and mix the dry ingredients in, the glorious chocolatey dry ingredients here from earlier. So we're just doing a little bit at a time. I'm not going to throw it all in because it's just, it might fly everywhere. And I would show you, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose my batter. So maybe what I can do, you know what, for this part, while I'm incorporating it, I'll just bring you guys closer and lower this view down. Get a nice shot of my trash can. We'll do that for this section. And I'll put this out of frame. You can see this part here. Come around so I get all of, I guess I can just move the bowl around. There we go. I have, the cable's pretty taut, so, and if I pull on it too hard, I might yank the camera down, so I have to, in fact, it looks like the camera might fall at this angle. Hopefully I don't break my phone. It's really falling. Wait just a minute, you guys. My phone, I have an iPhone, the new iPhone. Well, not the newest iPhone, but the last generation. The 12, I think it was. I don't know. I just don't want to lose my phone. I can lose the cake. I can't lose the phone. Okay. So the butter, the clumps you're seeing is definitely the butter, and hopefully, yeah, that's what that is. Okay, so I'm gonna do it in thirds, just so I don't lose the dry ingredients on the floor. So, and then I'm gonna fold it in. And then I'll blend again. So, I realize that I'm doing it in a way that is meticulous, but I feel like if you really care about the outcome, it's worth the extra time. And you guys, it's kind of zen. It's like taking your time with this sort of thing and doing it just really in the most, you know, meticulous, kind of methodical way. It's almost like having one of those sand gardens and you just spend an hour just raking the sand. That's how I feel. Like there's something about baking that's just, like I don't cook a lot, partly because not only my kids, my husband Jesse, they're really picky eaters, so I just don't feel it's worth it to try to figure out all the different things that they would want to eat. So I don't cook a ton, but I love baking. That's something I really love. I mostly just warm things up for dinner. That's what I do. I'm a professional heater up of things, and then I like to bake. So. And this is looking good. And I feel like any little clumps of butter, that's just gonna melt right in when we bake it, so that's okay. All right, we're almost there. This is a lot of batter, so probably what I'll do is I'll make the cake and then also do some cupcakes is what I'm thinking. And I'm glad I bought extra, I doubled the amount of frosting ingredients because I just had a feeling that I would need more frosting than the recipe called for, because it's a pet peeve of mine to run out of frosting. Like, you spend all that time on a cake and then you can't frost it properly. That's really not cool. Not cool. Beautiful. Oh, it smells so chocolatey, you guys. I wish you could smell it. Yum. Okay. Let's mix this up. Wow, that looks really pretty. I don't know if you guys can see it. This wide angle, I need a different lens for these baking videos so you can see more detail. But currently I just shoot all my live videos with my cell phone, so it's, you know, it is what it is. And thank you to everyone that gave me thumbs up. I see them, I appreciate it. If you haven't, don't forget, if you enjoy this sort of content, definitely give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. So lots of thumbs up. Thank you guys. Thumbs ups. That's so funny, plural. Okay. So now I did forget to do the vinegar when it was wet. Oops, you guys were supposed to remind me. Okay, so I think it was just 1 teaspoon of vinegar probably. You know what I'm gonna do? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna mix the vinegar with the coloring because I'm pretty sure the vinegar has to do with the color. I feel like whenever there's color in a recipe, it says to put a little vinegar in. I don't know if it like helps the color be true through the baking process. Again, I'm not going to pretend to understand all the chemistry of that, but I think that's what it has to do with. So I'm going to go ahead and do the coloring. Let's see. I'll move this so you guys can see it. Ooh, that's heavy. I'm going to need this. So here's my vinegar. Mostly only use it for hard-boiled eggs. I put a little dash of vinegar in my water when I boil water for eggs. Hard-boiled eggs, my son eats them, so we do that regularly. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of vinegar there. And I'm gonna put the food coloring into the vinegar because I was gonna put it with the wet ingredients and I just completely forgot. So it didn't tell me how much red, so I just put about 5 drops to start. And you know what I'm thinking? When I do vinegar and color, it's when I do Easter eggs. So yeah, it has to do with the color, I'm guessing, staying like a true red or setting just properly when it's warm. I'm not really sure, but here, I'll show this to you guys. So this is what makes it the red velvet cake, is the food coloring and a little bit the chocolate for the flavor, which I'm actually learning. Ooh, look at that. Who's here? Donovan! I'm sorry I wasn't here for a while. I had to do my homework, but I'm back now. Wow, congratulations, Donovan. I'm really proud of you for doing homework on a Friday afternoon. That's really impressive. When my kids are done on a Friday, man, they're done. I can't get them to do homework. That would be, oh wow, look, it is. It's pink. Look at that, it's kind of pink. I'm gonna set it down just because it's so heavy and I don't want to lose it. I really want you guys though to see the quality, so. Well, welcome back, Donovan, no worries. Happy to have you back. It's been a long journey, but we finally have our batter. So that's exciting. And it's looking really beautiful, but I don't know, you guys, to me that looks a little pink. I feel like it needs to look more red, so I'm gonna add more food coloring. I'm gonna put 10 drops more. I just was counting in my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got some on my spoon, but that's okay. Now I'll have a red spoon. Let's see if we can get it a little darker. Because I feel like the red velvet cake, when you cut it open, it really needs to have that blood red. Now, it could be that when you bake it, it darkens. So it could be a much darker red after being baked. But to me, I don't know if it's because of the sunlight, but doesn't that look really light? I feel like it looks really light, but you know. But it's definitely in here, I know. Hey, Miss Raleigh. Hey, Raleigh, can you hear me? Can you come look at the batter and tell me if it's the right color red? Come on over.
Okay. Oh, look at the
I want your opinion.
That's so good.
Come on up, don't breathe on it. Come on up and stand on your little stool here.
It smells good.
Say hi to Donovan, he's back. Okay. So, Raleigh, is this the right color red?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so thumbs up. Okay, all right. So Raleigh is my fashionista of the family, and I trust her completely, you guys. Like, she has proven herself time and again. That girl's got style. Like, she's just born with it. I kid you not. When she couldn't even walk, you know where she'd spend her day? She'd sit near all of our shoes, because I had this shoe basket by the door, and play with shoes. Like, it's like some people are just born with it, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna adjust the camera so I don't have to be like, hey guys, this whole time. We're done with the stirring, and here's the messy cook's kitchen, baker's kitchen. Everything's happening. I want some water. We're gonna stick this in the oven. This is it, and then we'll make our frosting, and then we'll be done. This is a lot of batter, so I'll probably do the cupcakes later. Yeah, so to you it looks brown. It's definitely brown. Yeah, it definitely looks brown. It is chocolate mixed with red food coloring. So I don't know if, yeah, and of course, depending on your screen and the color of your screen, everyone's gonna see a different color. Like if you're on a PC, it's gonna be a different color than if you're on a Mac. But there is this pinkish, if you will, tint, and I'm pretty sure red velvet, it's just kind of like a reddish brown. I'm excited. Another way that you could color it, which I wanted to do but I just forgot to buy it at the store, honestly, when I bought these ingredients, I was at a new Walmart I had never been to, and I got lost. I kid you not, it was such a big store. I got lost 3 times. I also don't feel like the layout of the store was very intuitive. So if you're here local, it was Palm Desert, and I much prefer the layout of the Palm Springs Walmart. I just happened to be at the Palm Desert Walmart for the first time, and man, you guys, getting all the ingredients from all the different aisles and having to find them was kind of a chore. But what you can do if you don't want to use food coloring, you can use beet extract, I believe, so you can color it with beet. And beets have such a lovely red stain and tint to them. That could probably be a really nice color for a red velvet cake. So I think, in fact, there's this beet cake recipe that I saw one year that I think it was like one of those royal baking from the BBC, and it was like, what's her name? Like Miss Meriwether. It was a long time ago. I'm blanking. She's like a very famous, like bakes for, you know, the queen. You guys can comment. And I'm from California, so what do I know? But anyways, yeah, what was it? A very Mary Berry. That's her name. Very Mary Berry Christmas. Whew, gosh, I need some more coffee. And oh my God, that beet cake that they highlighted, I've been meaning to make it ever since. So maybe we'll do that too. But so anyways, you can use beet too to make it red. All right, let's do this. So if you were here in the very beginning, I oiled my pan. So we're just gonna go ahead and pour it in. And I'm not gonna fill it all the way because it will rise. So let's see where we're at with, you know what, actually, this is a big pan, so this might actually be the perfect amount of batter. Oh, you guys can't see, you're missing it. Here, I'll angle down again so you guys can see this. This is it, this is what we work so hard for. Okay, so if you're seeing, so this is a Williams-Sonoma pan I got. It was a wedding present. And it's a pretty big cake pan, and I think this actually is gonna fill it, which I'm happy about because I didn't really want to have to. I'm gonna have a lot of dishes as it is. I don't know about you, I love making muffins, but muffin pans are not the funnest to clean, so I'm okay with this, filling this up and not having to bake more stuff today, Friday. Oh my gosh, are you guys watching WandaVision? Tell me you're watching WandaVision. If you haven't watched WandaVision, you better binge it tonight and get caught up so we can talk. I am obsessed with this show. If you follow me at all on Twitter, which I don't think anybody does anymore, but I'm still hanging on Twitter. I comment more about WandaVision there because I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'll find my WandaVision people if I'm doing it on Twitter. I feel like that's a Twitter thing, but oh, it's so good. It's so good. Your favorite Christmas song. It's a holly jolly Christmas, the best time of the year. Oh, because were you thinking the Mary Berry made you think of holly jolly? Are you just thinking about it? That's a great song, Donovan. It's a holly jolly Christmas. I love Christmas carols. I grew up on those, you know. So every year, you know, you do Christmas songs at the school pageant. I loved it. I was all about that. Okay, so this is it, you guys. I think we did it. This is going in the oven. This is it. Donovan, between us, I really hope next year you get to do that Christmas pageant and you can tell your teacher how much you love that song and maybe, just maybe, you'll get to sing it. That would be great. To everybody doing Christmas pageants in California again next year. It could happen, you guys. Let's hope it happens. All right, let's do this. Let's put it in. I'll set a timer. We got the rack right in the middle. Oh, now you guys can't see that, so just so you know, I just shoved it in the oven here. And this rack, I already have it positioned right in the middle. The oven, oof, it's an old oven. The oven is heated to 350 degrees, so we're all set. I'm gonna look at my recipe just to see the suggested cooking time, but here's what I do, you guys, especially if you're new to baking and you happen to hold on through this 2-hour video. What I do is I always set a timer for significantly less time than what it suggests because I don't want to overcook it, overbake it. I don't want to, burn it. So that being said, you never want to pull your baked goods out early. Have a holly jolly cake. It's the best cake of the year. Ho, 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 have a holly jolly cake this year. Fun. Okay, so I'm going to look at the suggested time, but again, I check it. And of course, I check it by just putting a toothpick in, pulling it out. It's the best way to do it. I've been doing it for years. I'm sure you do it too if you bake. And if any of your batter clings to the toothpick, it is not done. So when that toothpick comes out clean, you're good to go. So I always do that. If you don't have a toothpick, you can use a knife. It might put a little more damage in your cake, but remember, you're gonna be frosting it, so no one's gonna see that. So when you don't have a toothpick, you can use a knife. Okay, and it has to come out clean. So don't take it out if it's still needs to be baked a little bit longer. You don't want to pull it out because then you got like goop in the middle and no one wants to eat goop. Okay, so here we have our directions. Okay, so divide batter between cake pans. So if you're doing a traditional cake, I just want to show you guys really quick where did I put my cake pans? Where did I put them? Oh, here. So I just put it, just for convenience and to make this easy breezy because we're just eating it at home, I put it in the cake pan and we're just gonna slice it up and eat it out of the cake pan. If you're doing, if you're doing a traditional cake, you're gonna divide it between these two cake pans, okay? And what you're gonna do then, well, there's a lot you could do. Do I wanna talk about this? Well, I mentioned in the beginning, you do want to line your cake pans with parchment paper. And so what I do is I oil them and then I line them so it's nice and slick. And then, and they'll come out really easy when you do it that way. So, and then you cut each, if you want a 4-tier cake, remember when you turn these out, you can very carefully cut each of these in half and that would produce 4 tiers. So, but remember, you need a lot of frosting to go in between each of those layers. So that is obviously a much more intricate and delicate process. There's a lot more that could go wrong during that process. Excuse me, I have the burps. And so I didn't do that today, but just to tell you that what you would do is to divide them between the 2 cake pans. Okay, and then, what's my favorite part of Palm Springs? Honestly, I'm so new to Palm Springs, I couldn't say that I have a favorite part. It's actually not that big. If I were to say a favorite part, probably like the shops in the arts district, probably because it's just like so hip and I don't know, I like going in there and looking at really cool stuff. I love the style here. I love how much like mid-century modern there is and just everything's so clean and beautiful. The city is just such an attractive city, so it's been really nice being here. It's really just like this paradise. I don't think I appreciated Palm Springs until I moved to Palm Springs. You like the pool. That was a trick question. Of course, the pool. I mean, every time it's over 80 degrees, I insist that we all go to the pool for at least a couple hours. The pool is definitely where it's at. You got me, Donovan. That's definitely a trick question. Anyways, but the arts district's really nice too. If it's not too hot to go shopping and just, whether it's just window shopping or you're looking for something special to take back to your house, maybe a piece of furniture or a piece of artwork, there's some really neat shops here. Okay, so, not doing the cake pans, but I wanted to show you guys. And I've been talking now for a bit. I didn't set a timer, so I think it said 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna set my timer for 15. So like I said, obviously the cake is not gonna be done. It's probably been about 5 minutes since I put it in. It's not gonna be done in 20 minutes. I really doubt it, but I just wanna make sure I don't overdo the cake after all the work we put into it. So, I think the moral of this video is better safe than sorry because you're putting a lot of time and effort and money. You guys, the ingredients to bake from scratch, that costs something. In fact, when you add up all of the ingredients that you bought for your cake to cook from scratch, especially a cake like this, you need food coloring, you need the chocolate, so there's a lot more than a traditional cake. And combine that with your time and effort, which I don't know what you get paid per hour, but that definitely is something. I mean, obviously if you love it, but you're gonna be in the kitchen for at least 1 or 2 hours at least, because remember, the cake has to cool before you can put the frosting on. Now, we're just gonna lay the frosting on top of the pan, so you know, maybe I'll let it cool for a little bit, but it won't be as vital. But you never want to put frosting on a warm or hot cake. You will regret it. I have made that mistake when I was rushing. It slides all over the place and it'll be a disaster. So, you know, often if I'm baking a cake for my kid's birthday, I usually bake the cake a day in advance and then I frost it the morning of. So that way I know that I won't be frosting a warm cake. And make sure if you're frosting the next day, maybe you had the frosting in the fridge, you want that frosting to be room temperature. If it is too cold, it'll also be equally hard, and frosting is a lot trickier than I think people realize. If you're doing it for the first time, it can be really tricky, especially when the frosting starts to catch pieces of cake and that starts to show. So to prevent that from happening, I like to be really generous with my frosting, because the thinner the layer, the more chance you're gonna see those little pieces of cake coming up and spreading into your frosting. So you have to, just take your time, and good luck. Okay, so let's make the frosting. Let's stop talking and start making this frosting. Hopefully our butter over the course of the last hour and a half or whatever started to come to room temperature. I have to rinse these off because I don't want my frosting to be brown. This was chocolate, so that would dye my frosting. We don't want that. I'm just going to rinse these off. Get them nice and make sure there's no chocolate bits. We don't want any chocolate bits on those. So we'll just put them on a towel here to dry. And I'm gonna move you guys back just a little bit. It's really tricky finding just the right angle for these live videos because it is one angle and it's a wide angle camera on my phone, so it's a little tricky, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so then how to see me and the cake. That is the question. I think if I go back a bit. And hopefully the sound is sounding okay. Got Raleigh's stool here. Okay. All right. We got our little mixing plates. All right, also the cream cheese. Okay, so I pulled the cream cheese out, you guys too. I'll just do this. I pulled it out before I started, so it's been almost 2 hours. We've been going 100 minutes. Congratulations, everybody, for everyone that hung on. I think it's nobody, but again, I'll put timestamps. I'll probably regret making such a long video, but again, if you use those timestamps, you better comment, you guys, because I don't want to be sitting there all night making timestamps, putting those in if you guys aren't using them. So it's still cold. It's not room temperature, but what are we gonna do, you guys? I think it's because it's a cold, look, it's not that cold. It's probably like low 70s today, which is cold for us in Palm Springs. But I think here inside the house, it is probably about 72. And nothing, I don't know. How long do you guys think it takes to get your butter, eggs, and cream cheese to room temperature? Because we've been going almost 2 hours and it's still cold. So I think maybe put your stuff out a few hours. Like, I think it'll all be fine as long as it's not more than 3 hours and it's not hot in your kitchen. Your ingredients are not going to spoil if it's 3 hours or less, and you won't have to deal with cold ingredients. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this. I might need to rinse out one of my bowls. I'll just wipe the dry ingredient bowl out. That should be the easiest thing to do. And so it's a pretty simple recipe. Frosting usually is. It's more about the whipping section than it is. It's not very complex when it comes to the ingredients. If I remember correctly, it's cream cheese, sugar, vanilla extract, and I think we're good. Oops, where am I trying to Let's put it back here so you guys wouldn't have to look at it. Let's just look at it, just to double check. We'll just make sure we've got, because again, for those of you watching this, the playback, I have never done this recipe before. This is the first time. My daughter just wanted red velvet cake and she has celiac disease, so I'm like, I'm gonna make her a gluten-free red velvet cake from scratch. That's how you do gluten-free. For all of you that have gluten-free, have a gluten-free life like us, it's a lot of your own cooking, your own baking. Like us here in Palm Springs, we don't have even one gluten-free kitchen that we can take Raleigh to. So like last night, Jesse and I went to the Saguaro it's close to us, and we went to the Saguaro. They have Taco Tuesdays on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was delicious. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. It was so good, but it was definitely not gluten-free. So I just brought gluten-free chips for the kids, and I fed Raleigh when we got home. So that's how we do it, and you know what I'm talking about if you're gluten-free. So we cook from scratch. And where are the ingredients? I'll just show you guys. Scroll on this miniature phone. This is Raleigh's phone. It's her device for her type 1. She also has type 1 diabetes, so there's a lot going on in here. Okay, so 1 block of cream cheese. Oh, and butter. Unsalted butter, of course. How could I forget my... Now remember, I don't have unsalted butter. I'm out. So I'm doing salted butter, and I'm not adding the pinch of salt, okay? So if you're using salted butter, you don't add the salt. You don't want double salt. So butter, 5.5 cups of confectioner's sugar, which is powdered sugar. And she's saying a teaspoon and a half of vanilla extract. So this baker loves vanilla, because remember, she wanted a tablespoon of vanilla in the cake, and I decided to do 2 teaspoons because my understanding is I usually put a teaspoon of vanilla, and like this, a teaspoon and a half, that is someone who is confidently pouring vanilla extract. I might actually do it because I'm gonna just trust that this baker knows what she's talking about. I liked her post. This is actually on sallysbakingaddiction.com if you want to check it out. I will also put this recipe in the link so you can see the original recipe and kind of get a sense of how I made it gluten-free. I will also write just like a little description about the things that are gluten-free, that had gluten that I had to substitute. This frame is driving me crazy. It's like my tummy's talking to you. Okay, so I'm gonna cube this because it's pretty cold still, but it's gonna get really messy because I don't know if you remember me cubing the butter. It was super duper messy. So I'm gonna put it in the bowl and cube it. And then I'll cube the butter and put that in there too. So it's just 1 package, which is really nice. You don't need to measure it out. It's just a package of cream cheese, full fat cream cheese. You don't want low fat or non-fat because it just won't have the right consistency. It won't have the right flavor. Just putting it all over my fingers. Just a sec, you guys. And let's cube it up. This is my butter knife. It's not dirty. And butter is, oh, but it does have, look at that. As I confidently use this dirty knife, it had chocolate on it. That's okay. And just, there we go. See, when you take a shortcut, you regret it. Okay. Oh, well, there'll be a tint. Okay, so I'm just cubing this before I start to blend. I'm just doing lengthwise and then across, and kind of break it up a bit into cubes. And hopefully it's warm enough to mix well. And I'll throw my butter in there. So again, salted butter, so I'm not adding the pinch of salt that the recipe calls for. And I'm gonna cube this. Do I have any more chocolate on this? Here, I just opened the paper up. I don't know if you guys can see this. I just opened the paper up and then I'll just slice lengthwise. And then this is nice and soft, so this is good. So, and just cube it up. Do a few slices this way, and then dump it in. So I got my butter and my cream cheese. Oh, I keep going down there for I'll put my trash back. You guys can just look at my trash so I don't forget that it's there. Okay. Use this. I don't waste too many paper towels. I'm like really going to the paper towels. And my sensor, My baking spidey sense is telling me to check the cake, so I feel like my timer is about to go off. Yeah, 3 more minutes, but I might take a peek because I'd hate to burn it live after this journey that we have been through together, all 3 of us. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging on. I know this is not my usual. I'm kind of just doing a lot of things on my channel. I feel like this year is the year. Last year was the year I recommitted to my channel and I said, you know what? I'm gonna really commit to this channel. I'm gonna grow this channel, and it is growing, and I accomplished that goal. And then this year, I feel this is the year where I figure out what the main thrust of my channel is. Clearly, my gluten-free content has really been connecting with a lot of you. It's been really meaningful, and it's just meant so much to me to hear that that I'm helpful to people when it comes to how to do the gluten-free life. So I'm just so thankful that that is helping people out there. I so appreciate all the comments. People are commenting how much they appreciate those gluten-free videos. So that's kind of a surprising turn that I wasn't expecting for this channel. I really, my whole thing is the Super Cali Adventures, taking you guys on my family trips, on my family outings, but I did more and more gluten-free content during quarantine, and it's really resonating for a lot of people. So I really, that makes me so happy, so I'll continue to do it. But I still do love doing theme parks and California attractions and all things Super Cali. So I don't really see myself doing only gluten-free content, just because this is a channel that I don't really make any, I'm making like a little bit of money, but it's not nearly compensating me for the hours that I put into it. So I have to love what I do, or I'm gonna get burned out. I'm not gonna do this channel well if I don't love what I'm doing. So I have to continue to kind of balance what people are coming to my channel for with like the kind of content I love sharing with you guys. So hopefully this year I really figure that out and I marry those 2 things. So we'll see. I don't know where I'm gonna be in a year, but we'll see. And I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna check the cake. It's looking good. It's not done. I'm not even gonna stick a toothpick in it, because when I pulled it out, it's really looking beautiful, but it was kind of, when it kind of jiggles like Jell-O, that tells me the center is mostly still liquid. So I'm gonna set, I'm actually gonna set a 5-minute timer, just because those last few minutes, it can go so quick. And you can go 2 minutes over and you'll regret it. So because I'm just hanging out with you guys, I'm not really doing any other cooking or baking, I'm gonna set a 5-minute timer just to make sure I'm really on that. And especially because I'm just like super chatty and it's live and okay, so 5.5 cups of powdered sugar. Do we have enough? I think so. That's a lot of sugar, you guys, I won't lie. I actually bought 2 sticks of the cream cheese just in case I wanted to make more or I messed it up. So hopefully, I don't know though if this is a 12 cup bag of sugar. So I didn't even think that I would need more sugar. Let's see. I don't know. Let's just I got some granulated sugar. I don't want to wet it, so I don't want to make it. I don't want water to get in there, but there's granulated sugar kind of stuck to this. You know what? I'm just gonna get a cup. What am I doing? I'm professional. I've got more. Okay, so we're gonna do just kind of using the bag here. 1. You guys can help me count. This is a lot of sugar. 2. Oh, you know what I'm realizing? It's gonna fly everywhere.
Are you done yet?
So I'm not gonna do all. So we've done 2 cups. I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna look really quick because this is not a very big bowl, and if I had put 5.5 cups of that powdered sugar, I'd be in trouble right now. So let me just. That cake is smelling so good. I think it's the buttermilk that's really making it smell special. Okay, so not like special in a bad way, like special in a good way. Special is always in a good way. Okay, so Yeah, I'm gonna mix this before I put more of this fluffy sugar in there. Okay, so I have 2 cups in there now. I need 3.5 more, and I'm gonna put my vanilla in a little bit later. So don't forget that. Okay, because it's too much happening right now. Okay. Alright, we're gonna stick things in here. My blender blades. Get them in the right position. My fancy blender. Okay. This is gonna be some thick, yummy cream cheese frosting, you guys. It's gonna be ridiculous. I'm actually surprised it doesn't call for any liquid. I feel like it should have like heavy whippy cream or something in there, but I don't know. What do I have here? I haven't used this one. Okay, I'm just gonna pull in the sides here because it's just, there's a lot of sugar on the sides. Like, I'm tempted to throw some buttermilk in here because, I don't know, maybe it'll start to break down with the sugar as I add sugar. But I don't know. It's gonna taste good, I know that. Because you can't go wrong with butter and cream cheese and sugar. But maybe this wasn't the tool I was looking for. I just feel like usually when I make frosting, it calls for heavy whipping cream, but I don't make cream cheese. Clearly, I don't make cream cheese frosting very often because look at this mess that I've gotten myself into. It's gonna work out, you guys. It's gonna work out. Hang in there. We're gonna make this happen. This is gonna be really good. Goal today is that it's a yummy gluten-free red velvet cake. I'm putting yummy above all else. So, I don't know, you guys. I'm not super confident with how thick this is. I'm gonna look and see. Thank you, Domino. Thank you. Whenever someone walks by our patio, she's just protecting the pack here. All right, I'm not gonna do that again. That didn't work. Oop, time to check the cake. Should I just eat it? Okay, it legit tastes good. Okay. That's gonna be good. Ooh, it's so close. It looks so good, you guys. I need to like bring the camera up in here. Do I dare? Okay, for those of you that hung on, you deserve this. You deserve to see what is happening here. So I'm checking if this comes out clean, which it did. Look at that. It's done. Look at that. It's beautiful. See, isn't that so good? I didn't put the full. If I had baked this for 30 minutes, I would have burned it. Because instead, I think it was about 25 minutes. Well, I'll have to watch the playback. But, so here it is. It's beautiful. It looks so perfect. I'm so happy. Wow, wow, wow. That looks beautiful. Okay. You're coming through? Well, you chose the right time if you don't want to be in the video because I am doing this right now. Do you want to be in the video? Do you want to say hi? As I try to turn off our oven. So this is where the oven's a little broken. I can't, the off button doesn't work. Sorry, I'm laughing. Snorting right up in your face, you guys. Oh, there it went. See, you just have to be persistent. Eventually. Look at this mess. No, it's not as bad as it looks. Okay. Well, you guys, I seriously thought I was gonna have to check it like 3 or 4 more times. I was being so conservative with the time. And it baked. Didn't it bake so fast in that little pan? So see, just set your timers for way less time than what you need. I don't need this, but I'll put it here next to the hot pan. Yes, yes. Do you wanna come say hi? I think Donovan's here. What? Donovan says he's excited. You want what? Oh, you want the computer? No. You don't get the computer. I'm gonna put more sugar in here. When? I said when it's dark. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. You wanna help me, Declan?
Please just give me a specific time.
7 o'clock. 3.
That's nice.
So I share my devices, my phone, my computer with my kids, so we're always negotiating screen time. But I'm using both my devices right now, so I'm sorry. 4, I'm gonna go with 4 cups. This just seems like a ton of sugar to me, but I'm sure it's right. I just need to trust it. I'm gonna like mix it in a little bit too, because I'm afraid it's gonna overflow. This bowl is not as big as it should be. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm just trying to incorporate. So there's just basically cream cheese, butter, and sugar here. Declan, we can hear you.
What?
We can hear you.
So?
Can you just keep it down a little bit, please?
What?
Thank you. Okay. And then once this hopefully starts to look like frosting, I'm gonna add the vanilla. So I would add your vanilla, and if you did unsalted butter, your salts last to kind of make sure it's the right consistency before you mix it in. So just so it mixes in all the way, I feel. Oh yeah, here it goes. I know confectioner sugar is like magical. It just has magical properties. Now this bowl is really full, so I am gonna wipe the sides down. Raleigh, the cake is finished. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Where is it?
Oh, this one.
Where is it?
It's right here. Don't touch it. It's hot. No, come this way. Come this way, baby. She's so excited. I think she's running it. She's on a call right now with one of her best friends, and she's like, I need to go. The cake's ready. I don't think she realizes we still have to frost it, but she'll figure it out. Yeah, this is working much better than that whisk that I, lost a little sugar there. So this is really full, but I think this is gonna work. I think it's gonna work. I was having my doubts for a minute. Oh my God, so good. So I love cream cheese. Raleigh loves cream cheese. This is gonna be so thick and so yummy. I'm so tempted to put some of that buttermilk in it. But look at that, you guys, it's going. It's the magic of the confectioner sugar. It's starting to look like frosting. I don't know if you can see that. Oh my God, I don't know if my blender can do it though. I need like my big mixer. I didn't bring my big KitchenAid mixer, the mixing stand, because this kitchen's pretty small. There's not a lot of countertop space. Oh my God, you guys, look at this. Look at that frosting. It's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. Okay, so I put in 4 cups of sugar, and it's the chemistry of the sugar and the butter and the cream cheese is really working. So I'm gonna go ahead and put another cup in, because it said 5.5 cups, if you remember, and see what happens. And look, if I did want to make more, I don't have enough sugar, so I should have bought a bigger bag. Wait, Raleigh, what's your number? Can you, oh wait. Can you go bring me your pink phone?
Oh, nice.
There's a lot of sugar in this, so we gotta make sure we give you some insulin. What?
I don't know where it is.
You don't know where what is?
My pink phone.
It's in your bedroom on your desk, I think. Okay, and remember, the recipe called for 1.5 teaspoons of the vanilla extract, which I think is gonna be really, really yummy because I do love vanilla. And so I'm gonna do 3/2 teaspoons, so I don't have to get more than 1. If I did 1 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, just more stuff and getting dirty, so let's do it that way. I'm gonna mix in this sugar. This,
Here you
Raleigh,
go.
look, you want to taste the frosting? What's your number? Oh, it says calibrate. No, I don't want to calibrate. Oh, she's going. She's on her way down. She's 92 and headed down. I don't know if you guys can see this.
That is like
So I can
The best
confidently give
frosting
her some sugar.
I ever tasted.
I'm gonna wash my hands just with it. Just, you know, keep it kosher. Okay. Oh, Declan, Donovan's calling you. You know what? You can talk to him now because Donovan's in the video 2 different ways. Hey, Donovan. Say hi to everybody. This is Donovan. Hey, he's one of my son's best friends. So he's like an unofficial cast member of Supercalifragilistic. Okay. I think I'm done with that. I might need that phone again because it's got my recipe, but I think I'm done. Okay, so you want another? Let's wait and eat the cake. Okay, help me count, Raleigh. No, wait, come around here so they can see you. Don't touch it. Okay. All right. So, look, you want to count to 3 with me? Okay.
1, 2.
Wait, 1.
2.
Okay. 1 more. Oop, I got a little more in there, so I won't fill it all the way.
3.
3. Okay. Cool. I spilled a little bit, so you have to make sure you don't fill it up. If you drip, you gotta watch your drips, because that stuff's strong. Okay, and then we're almost done. I could put up to like a half a cup more of this, but we'll see what it looks
It
like.
doesn't even taste like cream cheese. It tastes so good.
No, it's cream cheese frosting.
I know.
So it's cream cheese with butter and a lot of sugar. So
It's like,
sugary.
It doesn't even taste like cream cheese.
Yeah. Do you want to help me? Here.
That new blender looks so cool.
Isn't that so cool? I've been flexing on this blender the whole video. Flexing. Flexing on my blender.
That's mean.
It's not mean.
But it's like,
I love using that word. I think it's so funny. My kids are always like, stop flexing. See, I knew that was going to happen with this bowl. We lost some sugar. Sugar down. That's okay. We can always put more sugar in. We have enough for 1 batch at least. So if I were making a big cake, I would have regretted not getting more powdered sugar. So for this particular recipe, if you're doing a big cake, be careful, Raleigh, if you eat too much frosting.
I'm not.
Okay, all right. Whenever we do these baking videos afterwards, she's so high because I'll be talking to you guys and she's like sneaking sugar on the side.
Every time we bake sweet stuff like this,
Yeah.
I like.
You're like sneaking sugar. No, Raleigh, that's straight sugar right there, girl. Wow. I feel like this is a true test of my blender. This is so thick
That looks so good.
that I feel like this is definitely the true test of this blender. Because this blender, it's very attractive, but it's pretty wimpy compared to my previous hand blenders. Raleigh! Hey! Good thing we're not taking this cake anywhere. You can't be licking the blender. Licking it before I'm done. Wait, Raleigh, careful.
Wait. Sugar come down.
So I'm gonna just, because I still have a lot of powdered sugar floating around this bowl. I'm afraid I'm gonna.
Oh, that.
Okay.
The cake right now. Let me see the cake.
It's like heavy with the
The cake looks so good. But what is
top
velvet?
heavy. Raleigh, can you hold this for me,
What
please?
is velvet?
Red velvet. Velvet is a texture, so it's probably referring to the velvety texture of the cake.
Like smooth.
And according-
Scratchy.
It's smooth. Yeah, smooth.
Scratchy.
Not scratchy.
Well, I got it has a velvet couch.
Scratchy?
Yeah.
Velvet's very smooth fabric.
I know.
When you go the opposite way, it's scratchy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the smooth way. The
Yeah.
velvet.
I know. But the
Careful.
cake.
Okay. I don't know. If I put more sugar, will it make it more
Oh no, my hand.
thin? Or will it make it thicker? I don't know, you guys. I wish one of you would be a baking expert and tell me. Maybe, I don't know.
One
Should I add
of
butter?
might be one.
Oh, and Declan has the phone, so I can't read anymore.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my god, it looks so good, Raleigh.
Oh, I just want her butt.
I mean, the recipe did call for 5.5 cups, and I've only put in 5. Don't.
I'm not gonna eat it, but I'm not gonna eat
Okay.
it.
So,
Egg.
Let's put the last half a cup in. Let's see what happens. Let's do it. I need a fresh one. There's a half a cup. Let's see what happens. Let's see. So again, I would do this in stages and use a bigger bowl because it will overflow otherwise. Okay.
My finger.
Raleigh. Ah.
Crying.
This is the true test of my blender.
Mommy, watch.
It's like, oh.
Mommy, watch. Crying. Mommy,
I'm
look.
guessing the
Mommy,
what? What do you do? Are you the noise of the blender?
Yeah, it sounds like it's crying.
I can't do it. It's so thick. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Wow, this is cream cheese frosting.
Giant dog.
Wow. This looks so incredible. Okay, use 5.5 cups. It's correct. It's right. It's so good. Look at this. No, Raleigh, no. I don't want this to drop. If I move the bowl, I don't want this to drop on the table. Get out. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, we'll frost.
Does it taste good?
Oh, it
I
does.
think it does.
It's really sugary.
No, put it on that cake or else you're fired. Just kidding.
You guys, can you see this? It's like, honestly, you know what this is like? It's so thick and creamy. It looks like, you know how when you buy the can, it just has that like thicker texture? And when you make it at home, a lot of times it's just a little too runny. Not this recipe. This is a good one. I will put the link in the description box if you want to come back, if you want to check back. And I hope I have the stamina to do timestamps for you guys. So you better comment if you use those timestamps so I know. Okay. Look at this. Okay, so we're going to leave this over here. I'm going to move my blender out. Thank you, blender. Everybody give the blender a round of applause. Thank you for commenting. Someone just said it looks amazing.
Recognize this from the beginning.
Look up there. I'm going to unplug it.
If you recognize that from
Yeah, I don't know that anyone's here from the beginning. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
That would be really impressive if someone was here from the beginning. Ugh, just unplugging my blender so I don't short out. Let's move this. Let's move all these things. Let's check your number because you keep licking all the sugar. Oh, she's going down, so she's okay. She's 83 and still. Okay, is this still super hot?
Okay.
All right, this
I never had
is
cake in a
our
long time.
beautiful
I
red
never had
velvet
cake
cake.
in a long time.
Okay,
Dallas?
for those of you just joining us, because you saw the frosting and you're here for the frosting, welcome.
I'm here for the frosting.
Okay, so this red velvet cake is for us. So what we did is we just baked it in the pan and we're just gonna put the frosting on top. It's actually still really hot, so you really should let your cake cool before you frost it. But if you wanna make, like I was telling you guys before, if you wanna make a traditional cake, you're gonna divide your batter into 2 of these, and then you're gonna have to, and you line it with parchment paper, excuse me.
Getting that cake.
And then you are gonna have to dump them out. Remember, the top of your cake is kind of have like, I don't know how this is, like kind of a texture to it. So what you do is you just slice your cake in half and then you put the textured side in with frosting. So then you get that nice edge. So you use the bottom actually of these cake rounds for your top. I don't know if that makes sense, but just comment and I'll help you out. Or find me on Instagram if you need some help with that. Okay. All right. So for those of you just joining me, if you're like, how do I find you on Instagram? My name's Alyssa Price and my Instagram is @supercalilistic, just so you know. Okay. And I have no idea if you guys can see me. Can you see me? I don't think so. Let me just. It's hard to focus. Raleigh Singer, I see you. I see you.
You said it good.
No, I said it's okay that you did. Okay, so
Wait, one more.
this is really hot, but for the sake of our video, I don't know, Raleigh, what do you think? This is so thick. What we could do is we could just start spooning it on. We're just gonna like spoon it on. I'm not gonna spread it because I just think it's too hot for that. So because we're just making this cake for us, I'm just gonna start spooning it on.
Oh,
Like
I want to
this.
do it.
Do you want to do it? Okay, let me get you a spoon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I never used this spoon.
You've never used a spoon before. So we're just gonna
No,
start.
I want to use the giant one where you can go like, and it goes bigger. So I can just do it from here.
We're just doing this, Raleigh. We're just gonna like spread it this way and then let it sit for a minute. So 'cause it's so hot. No, 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 no. See what she did?
So sorry.
That's okay. So when you hit the cake, it pulls the cake up and then it gets your frosting. So you, Raleigh, you go, and then you get cake in your frosting because you get the cake. So you just want to scoop
But
it
I like
on.
cake in my frosting.
No, it doesn't look good. It's clumpy. So we're just gonna scoop it on like this, Raleigh, just like everywhere.
Like ice cream?
Don't touch the cake.
Like
Yeah,
ice
like
cream?
ice cream, but you don't want to touch the cake. You just want to.
I don't want to do that. You do it by yourself. I don't know.
Are you sure? Here, why don't you do this? You help me by doing this part. Raleigh. All right, I guess I'm just on my own, like always.
Hey, don't say.
So I'm just. This is not probably how you would do it, but we want to get going with this
Sorry,
cake.
Dave, frosting hands.
So if you notice, unlike Raleigh, I'm making sure I don't touch the cake with my spoon because it will lift the cake out.
I did do it.
And then when you put your spoon back in the frosting,
Oh
you'll
my
get
gosh, that looks like ice cream.
yummy. Hi. It's just a little. Oh yeah, you're going to the pool, jacuzzi?
Yeah, just gonna lay out the.
Jesse's headed out. It's actually, it started really stormy today. It was a legit storm. I had to move everything off our patio because our stuff was flying off the patio.
That's a lot of frosting.
And now it's a beautiful sunny afternoon. So he's going to lay out at the pool, as one does in Palm Springs. And just so you know, if we were baking this for a party, I would not let her stick her fingers in the batter, but it's literally just for us. So I think, what am I gonna do? I'm just like trying to divide this up. And then I'm gonna gently, oh my gosh, Raleigh. I'm gonna have to give you insulin soon. Do you wanna show them how we do your insulin?
That's
Oh,
okay, bye.
okay, you need to stop because you're even now. You're gonna start going up soon. This is
Okay,
pure
I'll
sugar.
stop. I'm
Especially
sure.
because you haven't even had any, let's get every last bit on this cake.
Once I have that cake, I'm gonna scream this cake.
All right.
Oh my god.
So I did buy two, so I'm just making sure,
Smoothie.
I'm making sure to stay like way above the
Make
cake.
it go smooth.
Because it's
okay?
so
I want
warm.
it to be so bumpy everywhere.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be tricky because it's so hot, you know? So it's gonna be, so I'm just gonna do this. I'm staying like an inch above, a half an inch above the cake. I'm just kind of spreading it out. So this is a lot of frosting, and I feel like I could use even more. So really, if you're gonna double the frosting of this recipe, maybe,
Yeah, and it's all came from
get-
school, so thank you, school, for doing this.
yeah, thank you, school. So Raleigh was in class
But I still
yesterday.
hate school.
You hate school? That's a strong word for school.
I know, but it's what we
I
do
think-
is watch animals and make stories and
Yeah.
and do math and like
Life is so hard for you. To,
yeah. Did you ever know
do
that I do
stories
math?
and math.
And I never go. Only Gabrielle goes. She's good at the math. She really does it.
You're good at math.
No, I don't even know how to do math.
Okay. So if I push too hard or if I go too low, you can kind of see through the frosting. That's why I'm trying to
Should we
make it
put
careful.
sprinkles on it? Oh yeah, we don't have sprinkles.
I feel like I could use more frosting.
But if we had sprinkles, could we put sprinkles on
Oh,
it?
that's pretty good actually,
That
Raleigh.
looks so good.
I don't really. You want to put sprinkles on it?
Do we have it?
So this is a super casual
Time to
cake.
eat.
Ooh, it's warm on the bottom. So I just did this because we're just gonna eat it here at home. Obviously it's kind of a cheat to not have to bring it out of the pan. That's like one of the trickier things. But if you guys want that, just tell me and I will make a video where I make a legit cake and do the whole thing.
You want to lick my finger?
The reason I don't do a ton of cooking videos, as you can see, it is, like, obviously if I'm like making a video and then editing it together.
I know why you never make cooking videos, because I always eat the frosting.
What is that? Why? Alright, she really is the reason that I do all the gluten-free everything. Because we don't really have a choice. When you have celiac disease, you have to be 100% gluten-free. Our kitchen, like this countertop, is actually completely gluten-free. In fact, this countertop is not gluten-free. So her dad will sometimes cut bread on here, or maybe we'll make pasta. So her countertop is this countertop. So that's actually a good point. I have a lot of you that are also gluten-free, so let me know if you'd like a video where I share with you how I keep her food gluten-free, how I organize the kitchen. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that, but that is like a big part of it, like how to keep certain surfaces completely gluten-free, some of the techniques we use. Like for example, we have a gluten-free toaster. If you have celiac disease, you cannot put gluten toast in your toaster because then it contaminates the toaster and will make you sick. So things like that I don't think people really know about if they're not familiar with celiac disease. So this is it. I am gonna cut it because I am very curious about the color. I have a feeling it's not gonna come out in a perfect square because it's still, you guys, it's still warm, it's still hot, but this video is over 2 hours long. My phone's probably gonna be like, what are you doing? Not to mention the YouTube app, which is already kind of glitchy. So let's cut it. Again, I don't think it's gonna come out smooth because you want, excuse me, I'm having a little case of the burps today. It's live, can't cut around that. You want to let your cake cool before you frost it. The only reason I did that is, of course, to keep this video rolling. So, I'm gonna lick that bowl, but it's a lot of sugar. It is a sugary recipe. So let's see. Let's wipe this countertop down because I'm just gonna throw this over here. Wipe it down so it looks a little nicer for those of you just joining us, to make it look like I'm such a neat and tidy baker. Neat and tidy. It's all an illusion. I think you can tell from what's behind me that I am not neat and tidy. Take that out of frame. Close some drawers and some cabinets. Okay. And do this. Okay. So we have our lovely cake. Yay! We did it. I don't know how, but we did it live. This again was my first time making a gluten-free red velvet cake from scratch. So I had a lot of fun, and thank you guys for watching. Again, if you haven't already, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. And if you haven't, subscribe, because so you can just get more of the craziness coming from our channel here in Super Cali Land. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this and we're gonna try it. Raleigh, do you wanna try the cake? Raleigh, do you wanna try the cake? Okay, let's do it. Okay, I kind of want a piece that's not quite all the way on the edge. Whoa, frosting. Okay. If you let the cake cool and do the frosting, I think it would have been enough. I just kept it so high so I wouldn't. Oh, this is exciting. I feel like it's not going to be as red. I did about 15 drops of red dye, and I think you maybe need closer to 20 or 30, or the beet extract if you want to go healthier. But let's see what it looks like.
She said that she wants to eat with me, and her mommy's still making the cake. So I'm not.
Oh, they're making cake too?
Yes, because she
Oh,
wants to
that's
eat
so
with me.
special, Raleigh. You can wait for your
But
friends.
she's crying right now because her mommy got mad at her.
Well, you know, it's really hard baking this cake.
I know.
Yeah,
So
it
I'll
took me a
wait.
What?
But I'll
Okay,
wait. Okay.
you
Bye.
wait.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We understand. Okay, I'm gonna put her plate back. So Raleigh has a best friend. They are so close. And they just do absolutely everything together virtually. And that is so sweet. So her friend wants to eat cake with her. And I want to apologize. I don't think her mom is watching, but I want to apologize to her mom because I hope she didn't. What happens is one of them is doing something and then the other one wants to do something. And it's a lot of pressure on a parent if like Raleigh's like, my mom's making, you know, this red velvet cake. I had to plan to make this cake, so I hope her mom's not like, oh, now I have to make a red velvet cake. It's hard because you want to make your kids happy, but you can't always do all the things that the other kids are doing. So it sounds like her mom is making her a cake, which is so special. And what a fun Valentine's Day activity. If you guys want to do this, let me know how it turns out. So Raleigh's gonna eat cake with her friend, which is really sweet and really special. If she were to eat with me, I need to give her insulin, and then she can enjoy this gluten-free cake with me. It's totally safe for her to eat it. It has a ton of sugar. If any of you have type 1, if you found me through the fact that my daughter has type 1 diabetes, I would say each of these slices, I didn't like do the math meticulously, but I would say it's probably somewhere between, I would say probably almost 60 carbs per square. It's a lot because the frosting is probably about 20, and then the cake itself is probably close to maybe 25, 30. So about, 55, let's say. Yeah, so it's a lot of sugar, so I would give her a lot of insulin and pray that I gave her the right amount and watch her closely for the next few hours. But I love that I can share these things with her and she doesn't feel limited by the fact that most cake has gluten and she can't eat it. So when I do it, then it's really special that she can say, I got to eat cake today. So this is a very special thing. We don't usually, oh, look at that. It is coming right out. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna put my plate closer, so less chance of it falling. And again, it's really warm. Oh, if I hadn't toppled it over, look at that, it came out as a square. I'm obviously not very graceful when it comes to cutting cake, but look at that. It didn't stick to, so we did oil our pan with canola oil, but I did not put parchment paper in the bottom. I only do that if I'm knocking the cake out, if I'm getting the cake out of to frost the entire cake. But today I just wanted to keep it simple. So we've tried the frosting. It is delicious. It is sugary and delicious, but I have not tried the cake. It actually, I don't know if you guys can see it. It does have a red tint. It's not as drastic. I don't know what the color looks like through it. It's not as drastic as I would want a red velvet cake to be. So I think either use the beet extract or you need a lot more, ooh, that's good. You need a lot more food coloring. Okay, let's do it. A really big piece. Mm. You guys, that is legit so good. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna just do this for a minute. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is so yummy and it's so still warm, like straight out of the oven. It's like the perfect texture too, because it's like light and fluffy, but it's not too dry and it's not too wet. Oh man, that's really good. I really like the texture of the frosting. Like I like how it looks, but I have to say, I would probably search for a better cream cheese frosting recipe because this one's just, it was just too much sugar. Like that's my only complaint is the cream cheese frosting it's too sugary. So what happens is you need like milk or coffee or something to offset how sugary that frosting is. So that's my only complaint. Like I should be able to put a thick layer of frosting and it shouldn't feel that sugary and overpowering. So I would go and I would search, you know, cream cheese frosting recipes and look for one that I think that this was 5.5 cups of powdered sugar. And while it's beautiful, so presentation wise, it's nice and thick and fluffy. It looks just beautiful, but other than the presentation, I really care about how it tastes. So that to me, like even if this looked runny, but it tasted delicious, I would prefer that over perfect looking frosting that's too sugary. So that's my only critique of this particular recipe. But this cake, and hey, Mama snuck the veggie powder in. So when my kids eat it, yeah, it's packed with sugar, but it's also got vegetables. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching this. Thank you to everyone that watched me live and interacted with me and chatted and gave me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone that watched the playback. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, find me at supercalorystic on Instagram if you have any questions for me. And have a beautiful weekend, a very happy Valentine's Day, whatever it is you're doing. And I hope it's really sweet and enjoyable. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.